So at this point we just finished going through the sine law and how to use it. This lesson is going to go through a different law called the cosine law. Similarly to the sine law, we can use this for both acute and obtuse triangles. Remember, an acute triangle is a triangle where all of the angles on the inside are less than 90 degrees, and an obtuse triangle is one where we have an angle in the triangle that is greater than 90 degrees. So we can use the cosine law for both of these types of triangles. So remember, when we label our triangle, we always label the opposite sides as the smaller case letter of the angle across from it. So to use the cosine law, we have these fancy looking formulas over here. Okay. Basically, if we have any side and its angle, so these two are across from each other, we can use the side length square is going to be equal to the sum of the squares of the other two side lengths minus 2 multiplied by those two side lengths multiplied by cosine of your angle. Basically, if we're looking for this angle and we have the other three side lengths, we can find it. Or if we're looking for a side length and we have the two other side lengths and the angle across from it, we can use this to find it. This is one more piece to our being able to solve triangles puzzle. So to summarize that, we can use this if we have a side angle side situation. Basically, we know one side, we know the angle next to it, and we know the side after that. Or we can find an angle if we have the three sides of the triangle. So if we have the three sides of the triangle. Similarly, this one can be labeled the same way we did the other one. Okay. So that's it. We can use this formula, substitute in. Now, keep in mind, you don't have to, it's not necessary to memorize all three of these formulas. Okay. These are all the exact same formula, just with different variations. If there's a little a here, there has to be a little a, or a big A, sorry, here, it's angle. And then the other two go here. If it's angle B we're working with, B goes here and A and C go here. So basically, if you know one of the formulas, you can use different letters. It's the exact same formula. So let's do an example. Okay. So if we're going to use the cosine law to find a side length, in this case we have Hamid, a surveyor. He's on one side of a creek, and he's looking at both ends of a bridge. So he must be here, because I think he's looking at both sides of this bridge. He measures the distance and the angle shown in the diagram. So he measures this distance, okay? He measures this distance, and he knows the angle in between the two. Now what he wants to know is determine the length of the bridge. So he wants to know the length of the bridge. To the nearest tenth of a meter. So that means we need 1 decimal place. Okay. So that's what he wants to find. How do we find it? Always start, remember, we've done this before, always start by labeling your triangle. Okay. So if we want to use our ABC, let's call this angle, this is angle A, then this is side length A, B, B, C, C. Okay. So we've labeled our triangle. Now, in this situation, okay, you can see from the way the triangle is drawn that we have an angle, and we notice that the angle that we have is in between two side lengths. So as soon as you have this side, angle, side, you know that you can use cosine law. Okay, so that's how to look for it if you're looking in a different question. That's sine, angle, side. Okay. So we're going to use the cosine law. How? We have to remember the formula, and that's going to be step 1. How do we use that formula? So we know we're looking for little a. So little a squared is going to be out here all by himself, which also means that we're going to have, at the end of it, we're going to have cosine, but I'm just going to wait. So we're going to have b squared plus c squared minus bc cosine of a. So now it's just a matter of substituting our values into the formula and solving for our unknown, which in this case is a equals 2b is, make sure we put everything in the right spots. Now you can do this calculation in, move that over a bit, cos 37, as few or as many steps as you want. I always recommend breaking it down into somewhat smaller steps, so not trying to do this whole thing in your calculator at the same time. So I calculated 46 squared plus 22 squared is 2600. And then I calculated 2 times 46 times 22, which is 2024. And then I left the cos 37. Okay. So now I want to I can calculate all that relatively easily. So a squared equals 983.56. And remember, to get rid of the squared, we take the square root of this side. So the square root of 983.56 is 31. And remember, we're doing to the nearest tenth of a meter. So we need 1 decimal place. Meters. If the question's asked in words, always give an answer in words. So saying a equals 31.4 doesn't tell me anything, but saying the length of the bridge is, put it here, 31.4 meters. The length of the bridge is 31.4 meters. That's answering the question.